Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon, and then I post these videos up to social media when I think about it. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka, done. I'd like to thank my sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They're an online therapy company, international. They've helped a lot of people. I've gotten great feedback from them, so thank you, from the people using them. So thank you, BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. Okay, so today's question is, can you recommend techniques for mitigating empathy fatigue? Nobody's well is bottomless. Some things work out until they don't, but I am finding it harder and harder to keep digging for some people. Is that something to examine? Probably. So here's the deal. You can have empathy for somebody. You can have compassion for somebody, but don't have idiot compassion. So there are people out there that I call ask holes. So in other words, they're constantly playing the victim. They're constantly, I need help, I need help, I need help, I need help. And so we lend an ear, we talk to them, we give them suggestions, we help them through things. And 2 seconds later, they come back, I need help, I need help, I need help, I need help. Or they're very energy draining, okay? So I call them assholes because they don't ever run with the tools and use them. So you give them the tools and then they're like, well, I don't know how to do it. So this is kind of learned helplessness, which we're going to go over in a couple of weeks. And so it gets exhausting. It is. It's energy vampires is one word for it. They suck you dry. They just, you're listening to them and you find yourself going, like you're going to go to sleep or something. So you want to recognize whether or not that person is an ask hole. In other words, it's a bottomless pit. There's no way to give them the help that they need because they're not helping them. Help me help you. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like God helps those who help themselves kind of thing. So, you give them tools or suggestions or, things to do. And then they're constantly like, either it's not good enough or they come back and, play dumb or whatever. And you get burnt out because you're giving and 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 giving, and they're not getting it. So with those people, you just walk away. You do, obviously with a client, you cannot do that, but you say, okay, you're telling me you want this. I'm giving you all these tools and you're not doing anything. So what is that all about? What is that all about? Never work harder than your client. Never work harder than your client. Because there are clients out there that will be like, well, but you're supposed to heal me. No, I'm supposed to give you the tools for you to heal yourself. I'm good, but I'm not that good. You know what I'm saying? So never work harder than your client. Absolutely. You want to give them the tools. And then if they don't do the work, this is kind of back with what we were talking about on a previous video another day. If they don't do the work, then you got to ask them. It's like, okay, you're saying you want this, but you're doing this. So what is the cognitive dissonance here? Where's the disconnect? And then usually that's when they'll be like, well, you're supposed to fix me. No. You get to fix yourself. I get to teach you how to use the tools to fix yourself so that you can empower yourself and go out into the world without me, because God willing and the creek don't rise, someday I'll be able to retire. So, do you see where I'm going with that? So burnout, empathy burnout happens when we don't give ourselves a break. Okay. This happens in every single care facility and care field. So whether you're a doctor, a nurse, a therapist, a physical therapist, a trainer, anything where you're dealing with the public and you're helping people, okay, you can get burnout, because you give 110%. That's what good people do. They give 110%. But then sometimes it's like you hit a wall, bam, and you're just like, I can no longer care. I don't care. I don't care. I'm apathetic. I don't care. It happens. It happens, guys. And that's when you know you're getting to empathy burnout, you take a vacation. You do. You take a mental health day. You do. So if you're in a field where you're caring for the general public, or you're, working with people and you're giving your all and you're not getting anything back, and, you've hit a wall, you can tell. You can tell. It's like, it does happen on occasion, but I've been doing this long enough that I know when I'm starting to hit that I need to not think for about a week phase, And when I hit that wall, when I start reaching that point where I'm like, I can't think anymore. I can't think anymore. I'm done. I'm done thinking. I'm done. When I hit that point, that's when I'm like, okay, I'm scheduling a vacation. I'm taking a week off. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm going to read trashy romance novels and lay on a beach somewhere, preferably with my dogs. So, and my husband, but not in that order. So, anyway, the point being is you got to know yourself, and you got to know when you're reaching that point. In working with other therapists, because yes, therapists do see their own therapists. In working with other therapists, I'll hear, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I don't want to think anymore. I just don't feel like I care anymore. And then I'll ask them, it's like, when was your last vacation? Oh, I don't take vacations. I'm sorry, what? No, 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 no. With a side of no, an extra helping of no. So you got to take vacations. You got to. As a therapist, I schedule in vacations throughout the year because I know my limits. I know when I start getting exhausted or empathy burnout or whatever. And so that's, and it's really great because when I come back from the vacation, I'm jazzed and I'm excited to talk to my clients again. I'm excited to hear from them. What's going on? What have you been doing? How are things going? What's new? What's happening? What's exciting? So, no, as a therapist, you lead by example. You absolutely do. And you take breaks throughout the year, probably about once every 3 to 4 months. I'll take like a mental health day, or I'll take an actual vacation, or, whatever, because I know I need those breaks. So, and if you're dealing with somebody who's an ask hole, you give them the opportunity to do the work. For example, okay, you're saying you want this, but you're doing this. So where's the disconnect? And you help them start working on that. I mean, a lot of times, don't underestimate the power of self-sabotage. Seriously. People get into therapy thinking that they want to help themselves, but then when they start working on themselves, they freak out because, oh my gosh, now I'm going to be personally responsible. Now I'm going to be different. I don't know how to deal with that. So do you see where I'm going with that? So you deal with all sorts of issues that come up in therapy that you don't expect. Like when somebody is like not doing the work, it's like, what's the fear? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of not happening? What are you afraid of happening? What's stopping you from getting here? You're down here. What's stopping you from getting up here? What's the deal? What's going on? What's happening? So you ask those kind of questions. If they still refuse to do the work, then you simply tell them, it's like, you know what? You're not doing the work. You're not interested in getting better. I'm going to refer you to a higher level of care, and they'll have a fit and everything else. But if they're not progressing, if they're not getting better, they're wasting your time and their money. So, and sometimes, like I said, some people are just energy vampires. They're just, help me, help me, help me. You help them 2 seconds later. Help me, help me, help me. You help them 2 seconds later. Help me, help me, help me. They're assholes. And they're dedicated to being a victim. So ain't nobody got time for that. So what can you do besides take a vacation? Because I know not everybody is able to, just take off whenever they want to. So you build in time in your day for just you. That helps a lot. Whether that is meditation, whether that is, exercise, whether that is playing with your dogs, whether that is going for a walk, whether that is, whatever. You build in time just for you. And a lot of times I'll have therapists say, but I don't have time for that. Yes, you do. You don't not have time for that, because you're going to burn out really badly if you don't make time for yourself. And that goes for anybody. You must build in time during the day for you, even a half an hour, just a half an hour, just to meditate, or, stare at the ceiling, or do some stretching, or, clear your mind, journal, that's all stuff for you. So you've got to make sure to make your mental health a priority, and to check in with yourself. Are you reaching that point of, oh my God, I just can't even? And if it is, okay, can you take a day off? Can you take a personal day? Okay, and if you can't, what can you do to recharge your batteries? What helps you recharge? So for me, what helps me recharge is playing with my dogs, going on walks, meditating, exercising, that type of things, talking to family members that I love, that type of thing really recharges my battery. So you got to figure out what charges your battery back up so that you have the energy and the ability and the desire to go out there and give of yourself. That really is it. It's like, what's your hobby? What do you like to do for fun? When was the last time you did something fun? I ask that all the time. When was the last time you did something fun? It's like we become adults and all of a sudden we're just like, oh, I can't have fun. I'm an adult. Adults don't have fun. Well, a lot of them don't, but they're miserable. Go do something fun. When was the last time you played miniature golf? I love miniature golf. When was the last time you flew a kite? When was the last time you colored in a coloring book? When was the last time you watched a comedy show? Oh my God. John and I have been watching comedy shows on Netflix, and it's been wonderful. So that's, a way to recharge your battery. It's like, find the joy in life. Find the happy in life. Do something you love. Do a hobby. Do something you love just for you. It's just yours. Really important. That's how you recharge your batteries. That's how you stop getting fatigued, and recognizing, okay, if this person is just sucking you dry, don't be around them. You cannot fix them because you did not break them. And if they're not taking your suggestions and they're just, take, and not working on themselves, it's kind of like, okay, well, I've given you all the tools I have. I'm going to refer you to a higher source. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just, yeah. So you got to take care of you, and you got to make you a priority. That doesn't mean it's not a pie. It's not like you're going to deprive somebody because you're taking care of yourself. I think that's where a lot of people get messed up with that, is they think that, oh, I can't take care of myself because that means I'm being selfish. No, you're being mindful, because the body needs to be taken care of. The mind needs to be taken care of. The spirit needs to be taken care of. So go do what replenishes all of those. That's really important. Make sure it's a priority. So anyway, there's that. All right, my loves. On Sunday, we're going to talk about privacy. We're going to talk about your records, how to deal with an ex that's trying to get a hold of your records, all that sort of fun stuff, what happens to your phone after you die, all of that stuff. All right. Talk to you guys later. Have a great week. Bye.